Hi folks, and welcome to this new video by the Ragam Natura. I'm Alessio Migliucci, this is my friend Federico Cuccio.
Everybody.
And this is Violence and Christianity, and the AKA on the nature of religion and spirituality part 2, a follow-up
2.0.
2.0, yeah, maybe it sounds better. A follow-up to a video on the nature of religion in general. And today we're going to dive a little bit deeper to uncover additional points that we think should be made about the thing.
So, great, but first of all, do you want to talk about what happened last time we tried to record this thing?
So I don't want to forget it, but I think people now want to
know. Let's just say that that's our second take on it. But first of all,
because a certain great company is not capable of creating a video recorder that
actually
works.
A good webcam.
No, that's a great point.
It's a great point.
And this is not even my usual webcam, which, as you probably know, is way worse than this. So, and also my last name. So thanks to you.
Yeah, thanks to
fixing that. Having fixing that. Please for this.
Yeah, provided some mediocre camera, which is better, which just happens to be better than yours. Yeah, but it's still mediocre camera. First of all, I wanna kind of be the interviewer here. You just told us that you named this very video something on the line on like
violence
and Christianity, harmfulness, violence. So why do you think that Christian religion as a whole, can be violent?
Well, actually, my point is kind of the opposite. My point, which I'll try to explain.
So it was a surprise.
Is that Christianity is intrinsically non-violent, even though sometimes it looks like the opposite, and I think this isn't good. Actually, I think this is its major flaw. Actually, something negative about it that really looks like a flaw until you look much deeper into that and you understand that's actually a feature, and understanding that feature, you understand what Christianity really is at its core.
Okay.
And we're gonna understand that throughout this video.
We're gonna try.
Hopefully. Yeah. Okay, so I think that we could start. I mean, I could start just saying what's my thesis, but I think it's more interesting if we start talking about egalitarianism.
Egalitarianism in Christianity.
Because that's what we want to understand today.
Of course.
The way Christianity pretends to be promoting equality. Okay?
Pretends. Yeah. We could also say something about that later on. So, what is your thesis? What do you think about that? Because what I know about Alessio's point is that he thinks that Christianity at its core can not actually be a tool that can actually be used to reach equality because of this non-violent nature, meaning there's not a lot of of will to change reality, what's around us.
Yeah, let's just take a contemporary philosopher like Anna Arendt, okay? She had a lot of great takes about contemporary philosophy, and she had something very interesting. We philosophers are used to be professionals of thought. We are used to do just theory, to say what people should do, to say how society should be, leaving to others the task to make it actually happen. Which isn't intrinsically bad, but the problem is that you end up thinking these things are distinct. You end up spending your whole life seeing how people should behave, and maybe you are a good person and you actually behave in the way your philosophy says you should, but you do nothing to expand this society-wise. You do nothing to make sure that it doesn't end with your own death. For example, a lot of contemporary ethics tend to be very individual-centered. They're about what the individual should do, and they forget that for an ethics to be actually impactful, you must have a certain point where it says this is how you should interact with the entire society. And so
with the entire society. So you mean that what we're kind of missing out on is we gotta think about the singular person. We gotta think about the individual.
Yeah,
but
we can't just
we can't just do it. We gotta do it, but in our advancement and development, we kind of reach a point where it doesn't really make sense anymore just to focus on the individual. Rather, it would be more important to broaden our horizon and focus on the entire.
We might even say that you must have a political program.
Okay.
No ethical philosophy can avoid being political. If an ethical philosophy tries not to be political, it fails. I think this is what. I think this is the first way we can phrase it. Then we're gonna adjust some things. But I think that our first take on the point of this video is to say that Christianity is never political. Christianity says that the whole of society should behave in a certain way, but does Christianity tell you to build a party that promotes it? Does Christianity tell you to take up arms and ensure that happens? No, it never does that, and we're gonna see why that's inevitable.
It never does that, but we could argue that the definition of Christianity is kind of broad, and a lot of people who define themselves as Christian in the past actually were pretty much political.
Yeah, but this political behavior was never about egalitarianism. I mean, I'm talking about, if we talked about all of Christianity, it would be too much of a broad discussion, and what would be true for one confession would be true for the others.
So in order to, plan out what we're going to talk about, what do you mean by Christianity? Kind of define a little term.
Right now, I'm talking about mainstream Christianity. And by mainstream Christianity, I don't mean mainstream Christianity today. I mean the Christianity that confessional Christianity that at a certain point of time could say that they had millions of people.
Millions of people,
like Catholicism or even Protestantism. Obviously, I'm not talking about the single heretical movements. We get them, but that's not a story. Okay?
Naturally, but so in order to stay focused, when you say Christianity, you're kind of talking about the entire group of people, the all of Christianity as a movement, as a concept.
Yeah, basically. I'm talking about that group of people that reads the Bible and interprets it in a way that most people find reasonable. Okay. A way that is widely shared and is not considered controversial.
So by Christianity, you mean the clergy?
I mean, that's a way to say. Saying the clergy is a way to say mainstream Christianity if you think about it.
Mainstream Christianity in a way. So we kind of explored that. So now you were saying that the main problem that we're facing in regards to Christianity and equality is that all those folks are pretending like they want to be equal, they want to make a better society, a fair society. But what you're saying is that all those people don't actually do that because they don't focus on real stuff. They just say, you gotta be. We're gonna create a firm, some sort of firm of equilibrium.
Yeah.
But you're gonna do it in our own with our own terms, in your private life, and just if you believe in our God.
Yeah, I mean the people that use Christianity to promote egalitarianism, which, if you think about that, is most of the Christians, because if you read the Bible, it really sounds like something egalitarian, can be classified into categories. On one side you have the hypocrites. You have the ones that do not actually think that should be done, but they use it as an argument to say that Christianity isn't the actual fact that thing that it is. The other kind of people are people that, they think that society should be more equal, and they say they do something about it by behaving nicely. But the problem philosophically is that they never come to promote an actual change society-wise that is, impactful. Like, think about the Pope. What is the Pope all about? He says we shouldn't have war. Can we disagree with that? No, we can't disagree with that. But he never does something that has any chance of making peace more likely. He never does the equivalent of taking up arms to fight for peace. And saying we should all hope.
Yeah, but
for
what
peace,
you're saying is just in the way that I see it, referring to modern day Christianity, because as we know, Christianity back in the days was way more political than it is right now. So I kind of see that through what you just said as a attribute to just modern day Christianity.
Well, but if you explore it back in the day, you find out that that kind of political nature that Christianity had back then is actually the reason why it's not political today, because it wasn't political like socialist egalitarianism is, right? Because in the way I've expressed that, it looks like the main difference between Christian egalitarianism and socialist egalitarianism is that socialist egalitarianism tells you take up arms and fight for your rights, while Christian egalitarianism is like sit somewhere, hope to get your rights. Which is true. That's the difference, and that's why Christian egalitarianism is bad for society, while socialist egalitarianism, well, at least is good mostly. Well, that's another story. But
okay,
you got what I mean.
I was seeing it wrong, because I keep forgetting that when you talk about this thing, you're actually referring to the unique and single branch of equality. Okay, in those terms,
I'm talking about
in those terms, you're right. You're totally right. That was totally my bad. So, okay, that's kind of a great point. But what I'd like to understand is like, how do you see this thing actually acting out? Like, we see, as you probably know by this point, we are Italians. Okay, we come from Italy, which is, in my opinion, not the most Christian country nowadays, but it surely is the country who has had, during the all of history, the biggest Christian influence.
And it's a Catholic country.
And it's in a way still a Catholic country.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but Christianity here is Catholicism, which
it is Catholicism,
is impactful,
of course, and is very impactful. So, how do you think that this this way of seeing equality actually impacts Italy nowadays? Like, do you see this kind of behavior in people?
Yeah, of course. Well, it's basically not, well, on one side there is what we could define as anti-defeatism or something like that.
Anti-defeatism.
Which
kind of like
is
that,
not like, it's not like being, I mean, I think that in Italy we have a lot of issues, right? We have a lot of
yeah, we do.
things that we should fight for, like better healthcare, better education, equality,
yeah, better
social
political
programs,
representation,
exactly, rights for minorities. There are a lot of things that are worth being fought over.
Yeah, there are a lot of things.
But there are a lot of people here that ain't really like let's fight for them, but they're more like, I think we should have them. I think that's bad that we don't have them. That's my political view. I may not so cool. That's what it is, and I think that's bad, and Christianity in a certain way promotes that. Christianity goes around telling people that they should feel bad because there are other people dying, but it never actually says fight for those people. It never actually says you should be a crusader against inequality. And
we actually say that, in my personal opinion, it is my personal belief that we actually say that, and our voters were always seeking for, the big figure, the guy who's gonna save it all, save it all, and they don't actually understand that if we wanna make a change, we gotta do it ourselves. We gotta use our own tools, our own resources in order to actually change stuff ourselves, change this country ourselves. But now, in real Italy, what always ends up happening is like we all kind of like believe in this providence thing, and this bright future that's gonna be right in front of us if we listen to the newest political representative. And I felt in a way that's kind of be influenced also by Christianity, Catholic religion. Not entirely. There sure are a lot of other reasons to that, but I think that's a way in which this kind of mindset is still impacting us to this day.
Yeah, but I think that we could learn more about the nature of Christianity on this specific, on this specific aspect, if we ask ourselves why.
Why is that?
Most of egalitarian movements throughout history have been.
Can I tell you something? That was a really nice segue. It was an incredible segue because, like, we were getting off the rails and you saved it. So good job.
Yeah, I think that most egalitarian movements throughout history have been political. Highly. Christianity is kind of weird, especially when you realize that Christianity has been, framed into politics, but that kind of weird philosophy you find in the Bible has never actually, appeared in Christian politics. And I think that we gave a hint to why in our last video, because in the latter portion of that video we said that Christianity has been historically a tool for the upper classes to control the lower ones, which is absolutely true. And if you think about it this way, you might ask yourself, what if Christian egalitarianism is but a promise of a better future made by the people who don't want you to have a better future to make sure you don't fight against them? That's a legit question, and if you know something about history or philosophy, this isn't actually a very original question.
Yeah.
Karl Marx himself said that, religion is a tool for the upper classes to control the lower ones, but is also a tool to, make the lower classes feel less bad about their position, to hide from them how bad their position is. Don't worry if your life sucks, because you're gonna have an amazing one in the next world, in the afterlife or whatever. That's something, in my opinion, and I think it should be explored.
I kind of have some problems with that way of seeing this kind of situation goes, and I'm gonna get to that. It is true that throughout history, religion, especially in Western countries, not all Western countries, mainly Europe, it's been a way, even for colonialism. There's a lot of like manifestation. I didn't say that in English. A lot of
personas.
Not personas. That's not what I wanted to say. There's a lot of examples of that. There's a lot of examples of that, and it is true. In the history of Europe, every single powerful person has used, in fact, religion to control the lower classes and people in general.
Because the clergy was the upper class.
Because the clergy was the upper class, and even when the clergy didn't represent the upper class, religion was used as a tool, as a tool to control the people. What I want to say is, you're totally right in saying that, but we gotta specify a little thing, because in the way that Marx puts it, you kind of get to see that as deliberate. Like a group of people actually sit down and said, "Okay, we're gonna use religion to do that." And I know that you weren't thinking that,
but that's a point we gotta make.
But that's a point we gotta make. It was something that actually happened during time. In fact, that there is a lot of people nowadays saying, "Okay, man, what the hell? why do you still defend Christianity? Christianity is totally harmful, how I said at the beginning of the last video.
And it is.
And in a way it is, but if you look at data, like, there's a lot of people saying, okay, you're saying that Christianity is harmful? Man, show me some data of that. And if you dig a little deeper, you see that in terms of like data, nowadays, Christianity is not so harmful, actually.
Well, it's obviously not harmful in a material way.
In a material way, and I want to get at that because all those people are saying, okay, you're an atheist. You call yourself a scientist, okay? Have I heard it correctly? Let me see some data of this. And they always say, okay, you just said that there is a correlation between the countries who have the most homicides and suicides and the country are most Christian. And so that kind of should prove your point. But then, if you actually see closer, if we look at the United States, which still is a pretty Christian country, not Catholic, Christian, still Christian. But if you take a look, it is true that there are a lot of suicides and homicides in the United States.
But I don't think Christianity is the main
Christianity is not the main reason, especially when you take a look at the most Christian states, and you see that those states are actually the ones who have the least suicides and homicides. So that's not a way of debunking that. But what I wanted to say is like, yeah, man, Christianity has been harmful over time and still is. In fact, still is. In the past, this harmfulness was way more material. Way more material. And nowadays we kind of see less of that and more of a like cultural supremacy in a way. But what I wanted to get to, I'm sorry I'm talking too much, but what I wanted to get to is, let's just picture together what Christianity was at the beginning. Because if you think about it, it is true, it is indeed true that the first impact that Christianity caused was a very positive one, in a way.
I'm not so sure about it. Well, I think that depends. But, you know, we could talk for hours about what you said, and there are a lot of good points.
I don't agree with what I just said. I'm sorry, I just put it wrongly.
Oh my god.
If my clone would have said that, I would be taught. I would disagree. 100% disagree.
No, actually, that's not a bad point. We had to remind ourselves.
Yeah, but the thing is that we have to acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of good in the Bible. In fact, that as we said in the last video, everybody should read it because it's a beautiful text. And it contains a lot of information. It's super fun at times. But
and
what I wanted to get to,
understand that history right?
It's important to understand history. But what I wanted to get to is that, we could say that it was indeed a tool that all those very upper class people during history used to control lower class people.
Mm-hmm.
We could say that, but I think it would be kind of a way of saying that is too simple. Not because it is wrong, but because there is a way more, not accurate, but interesting way of seeing the problem, of seeing the matter, which is, I prefer way more seeing this thing as a system rather than a tool, because that really became a system. Because if you think about it, what are we? And we actually said that in the last version of this video. I actually said that in the last version of this video.
I didn't think that was a surprise.
The thing is, as I said, we as human, our lives pretty much sucks. Our life sucks, man. It is full of evil. It is full of bad things that happen all the time, and you gotta fight against all the different things, and we don't even get to choose how we are, because it is my personal belief, and many philosophers beliefs, that you don't really choose the way you are in terms of personality.
Yeah.
All of those things are already in you before your conscience actually develops. There is, to some extent, some margin in the earlier years of your life
but
to change that. But it's a very minimal thing.
I mean, you don't choose your genetic code.
You do not choose your genetic code, and this is also validated by a lot of neuro research. But what do I want to get to? The thing I want to get to is that the human experience, it's very complicated. It's filled with problems. It's full of problems. There are a lot of things you have to address, and you gotta take responsibility of a lot of things that you don't actually get to decide, like your personality. You're responsible for who you are, but you didn't get to choose it. What you're even more responsible on, not more responsible on, but a thing that you can control is your attitude. It's naturally your attitude. But
this sounds so stoic.
It is very stoic. I'm
pretty good, man.
What?
I'm kidding, but go on.
Yeah, but the thing that you actually can control is your attitude. But as much as you can control your attitude, and you naturally feel like, okay, it is fair. That thing is fair, because okay, I'm choosing to do those things. I take responsibility for it. But a lot of things that you do, you're not responsible for it, but you have to take responsibility for that, and that's just a way of saying we as humans are fucked up. We go through a lot of problems. The human experience can be very, very bad. Can be way shittier.
I think they know.
I think
if they're watching this video, they probably know.
Yeah, they probably, if you're watching this video, please make yourself alive, get your shit together, and
that's the way you build a YouTube channel in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah, like, get your shit together, go doing something more creative, explore the world.
Don't be like us.
Don't be like it. Well, I think I'm a good person. So please be like me. So the world will be filled with more egomaniac, sociopath who wanna have control on things they can't actually control. But having said that, the thing is really, we suffer a lot as humans, and it's and we see all this inequality in the world, and we want to correct it. And what actually happens is, here comes a man with a key. This little prize guy, this little friend of us coming to us with this book, the Bible, and it's telling you, okay, picture all the bad that you have been and that you have done during those years. Now, I know you know that's bad. I know you know what you did is bad. But what if I told you that there is a way out? There is a way of actually correcting that. And what if I told you that in a certain way, they don't put it like that, but revenge will be served in a way. You're kind of they're kind of selling you the idea that there is, in fact, equality, and that there is a balance the universe has to be balanced, and all the sacrifices, all the bad you've been through, even the things you shouldn't really be responsible are, but you're responsible about those things, will be paid. Every effort, every single action, every single good action, bad action, will be paid off. And the thing is, the cool thing about this is that for a lot of time, this also meant, okay, now you have this recipe. You know that life sucks. Life totally sucks. Okay? But first of all, we live in fucking feudalism. There's no way to change that in here. There is no actual way to change that in here. Because it's almost impossible for you, isn't it? But what I'm telling you is that there is a better way. As long as you do what you're being told to do, and you fight for yourself, for your own good, and for the community, the collectiveness good.
I get it.
Yeah, but that's not the point. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but
don't worry.
That's not really the point. The point is, who that benefits? Does that benefit the upper class for getting to have all this money? You got like Ballard is getting all this money through this new feudalism things. Does that only benefits him? Well, I don't think so. I don't really think so. I think the condition of the farmer, of the merchant. The merchant is already a little different, but the condition of the farmer, okay, of the citizen, wasn't that bad either. Meaning, okay, you had to suffer. You could not change who you were in that life, but you didn't really.
They do think that's all gonna be fine. But this makes them feel better.
Yeah, that makes them feel better. But even more, one thing that is even better than that is, you don't know who you are. You didn't choose that. You don't have to choose it. We're giving you an identity, and we're telling you, okay, that's like you're made for that. That's factory settings. You cannot change it. You're that. Don't worry about that. We got you covered. If you, I know this sucks. I totally know this sucks, but you cannot choose it, and you're gonna be. All the sacrificers are gonna be paying out in the future. And what happens, and this is totally a consequence of living in a society that is less and less Christian, we're actually able to decide what we are, to decide on ourselves. We can take a stand. We can do the violent thing that you were saying before. We can say, but even
that's more than bourgeoisie or something like that.
But not only that, even in individualistic terms, in every single way of seeing the problem, like saying, okay, we gotta fight the fucking bourgeoisie. You can't say it, you little French guy in the 1800s. You can't totally say that. But even you, I don't know, middle class person named Frank in Ohio 2024, okay, you can say, my old father was a little driver. He was used to drive cabs, but I can't study. I can change the way I am. I can change my position. I can take a stand and fight this, and I can actually get to a better world, to a better way of life. I can do that. I can take that stand, and in a way, I'm fighting for better condition. And when the individual can do that, bigger groups of people can take that stand, and can actually change stuff. And in a way, I've said in a way too many times, and this way in this video. But what I'm saying is, and it's totally true. Religion can be harmful in a way, can be harmful in the way that it is holding you back. It is telling you, okay, don't worry about your condition right now. You'll be better when you get to that guy over there, and that guy is gonna make justice. Justice will be served. So you don't get a living thought, and just live your life. I know it may suck, but if you get with the Christian people, with our group of people, we are actually a community. So, if you do something for us, we're gonna do something for you. Don't you want to do that? Don't you want to be a little better, even in this life?
Well, I get it, and I think this is actually the main reason why Christianity sucks so much to me. I mean, why you think Christianity is so bad? Because it makes people feel better in the short term, but long term, what they're paying for that is an unjust price. That's pandering, right? I mean, Christianity is that force that makes you not be emotionally damaged by the way that actively harm you, by the things that actively harm you. But in exchange for that, you renounce to the awareness of the fact that those things exist. Just there's an amazing Star Trek episode. Well, no, because
I like it. That's important.
There's an amazing Star Trek episode, right? Where a kid loses his mother, and the entire episode is basically the alien species that was responsible for the death of the mother trying to take the child and put him in some kind of safe haven with an hologram of the mother to make sure that he would have never realized what actually happened to the mother, and therefore he would have not suffered from that. And in the short term, when you see the whole crew of the Starship Enterprise fighting against these aliens, the first thing you think is, God, the protagonists of the show are really assholes. I mean, the kid does not suffer with the aliens. Look at how happy he is. Why is the crew of the Starship Enterprise trying to make him suffer all over again the loss of his mother? And then you realize that's because that kid would have never developed himself as a human being, would have never actually been free, would have never been capable of deciding his own destiny without accepting that grief. So the episode isn't explicitly anti-religious, but there is a way of reading it which is like, there is a force that tells you, don't worry about your mother, she's in a better place now, or you're gonna see her again, and it's pandering to you, and you want to accept it because you're not gonna suffer right now, but grief is temporary. And you know what is not temporary? Your capability of acting on the world around you and fighting for equality and better society. And actually, all those things that you think that help you by hiding your grief actually work strongly against it. They actually they ain't only, I mean, we're not gonna decide that they're a tool for the upper class to oppress you, but actually the exact lines in the Bible that you think promote equality and justice do the exact opposite. And I can show you why. There is this wheel story in the Bible which looks extremely badass, and the reason for that is that it is. It's a little bit like this. There's a rich guy and there's a poor guy. And the poor guy knows that being poor sucks, but what can he do? Then they die, because, that's life. Well, not really, but...
life happens, man. People die.
People die,
It's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
I live forever.
And so the poor guy goes to heaven and the rich guy goes to hell. And so the rich guy looks up, and I'm not kidding, that's exactly what happens in the Bible, and he tells God, bro, what the fuck? And God is like, man, your life was nice. I mean, that's reasonable, right? He had a terrible life and now he's finding the afterlife. You had a great life and so now you're gonna suffer for eternity. Isn't that fair? Spoiler alert, it isn't, but that's not the point.
That isn't fair.
The point is, you might think, oh my god, Christianity is so egalitarian. Christianity is saying that rich people are assholes. That's what we all want to hear, right?
Yeah.
The point is, you don't have to be fooled. In those pages, the important part is not that rich people are assholes. I don't need the Bible to tell me that. The important part, what that story is actually saying, and what the Bible is actually saying that, and what you should read that, is that it's not really it's all gonna be fine, is that it's all gonna be fine in the afterlife, which doesn't really matter because there is no afterlife, right? So in this life, what about this life? What do you know? What the Bible is implicitly telling you to do? To fuck off, to carry on, like be calm, it's all gonna be fine, do nothing. It's not telling you
we're
to the
rich telling you
and beat him up. It's telling you.
Yeah, that in my opinion, that's not what we gotta do. But
metaphorically.
It's metaphorically.
It's telling you,
of course, metaphorically. The thing is, they're telling you.
It's telling you, let him be the rich guy. And that's why that page is actually a tool for the rich guys to let the poor guys don't worry about being poor. If that's not social exploitation, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's an interpretation. I should actually go there and really study it in order to tell you, okay, you're totally right. But even if we get the page of your argument, it still is pretty valid. And the thing is, those people are coming that's a score. But yeah,
1 point for me.
1 goal. And the thing, goal achieved in life. And the thing is, those people are getting to you and telling you, good morning, Mr. Alessio. Have you a year of suffering, of bad? And do you know that this thing is a part of you? And a little Alessio goes and says, suffer? Is that what happens to me every single day? And what they keep telling you is, okay, listen to me. There is a solution. There's something more. Do you ever thought about the fact that you're so small? That you're so small, so little, but there actually is more. In exchange to this very great solution, we just need a little small John Hancock and your soul. Do you want to give me that? Do you want to give me that, little kid? I promise you that if you give your emotions to me, if you're repressed your little emotions, you little jerk, will be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be totally fine. We'll win. We will make Christianity great again. I'm just fucking out. Let's go on with some serious stuff. Let's go.
No, but that's a good point. Just but when always sad, comedy is a great way to explain.
Yeah, it really is. But I'm a bad comedian.
And if you wanted a serious discussion, you should have not opened a video called "Violence and Christianity." For God's sake, that's obviously just a collection of jokes about murder. So fucking controversial that they are unconventionally funny. What are you expecting, for God's sake? But
beep. Okay, so as we were saying, I think it's about time to wrap this thing up. So some final conclusions and thoughts.
Yeah, I think so too. Sorry if this thing was a little bit all over the place, but if you
this guy just choose to do this thing with me, so you you should have expected that. I can be a little professional in the beginning of the video, but then I totally go off like, man, the alarm just went off, and I made it went off. So
yeah. So I think that a good way to conclude is to remind everyone that here by Christianity we usually meant the big chunks of the Christian movement, but it's interesting to notice that throughout history there have been Christian movements which didn't lack that call to violence that we have seen prevents Christianity from being a movement for egalitarianism, which is actually functional. By the way, I said that it is inevitable for Christianity to have this handicap. The reason for this is that historically Christianity very early in its history has ended up being a tool for power. Christianity maybe was born to fight power, but almost immediately ended up being a tool for the powerful. It happened as soon as Christianity merged with the Roman Empire, and the reason why Christianity spread was the Roman Empire itself. So this thing was inevitable,
totally.
And therefore, in the moment that happened, every potential for social violence, which is something that I conceive positively in this video, went lost as soon as that movement for egalitarianism had to get, this change and bent in order to become a tool for power. As soon as the focus went de facto from the rich should suffer, which is a good message, to not
it's not a good message at all.
But
I don't know what you're saying.
As soon as the message got de facto from the rich should lose their privileges to they shouldn't in this life though. As soon as there was this shift of focus, which was inevitable because of the way Christianity got incorporated and phagocytated by the institutions of power, any potential of social violence went lost, and that loss of potential is exactly what made mainstream Christianity this problematic and having the issues we have seen that it has in this video. But there were movements that were exceptions to this. An example is the heretical movements of the 14th century, which actually were very violent. And by very violent, I don't just
very active. Let's just say that they were willing to.
Well, they were willing to kill violently a lot of people.
Yeah, so they killed a lot of friars.
Yeah, which is something I wouldn't personally support if you want it. But the point is,
I would. Nah, that's not true.
The point is that they were willing to take up arms and fight for social justices.
Yeah.
And in the moment, and when egalitarianism is willing to do that, it becomes a form of egalitarianism that is no longer worth of being, thought as stupid and pointless.
Yeah, I was thinking.
As Christianity is.
Actually, Christianity. I was thinking, you should really do a video about the Mormons.
I should. Yeah, I know.
That's very interesting because, it's a mixture of the two ways to Christianity, but at the same time, none of them. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I have a Mormon friend, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. I was talking in Italian. I'm sorry for that. But okay. So I hope you like the video.
I hope so too.
We did our worst as always to make this thing great.
And of course, comment, like, subscribe. I should tell you because that tells me that that's a good idea to tell you. So.
You gotta ring that fucking bell.
Exactly. So as we said, we hope you enjoyed this. We sure did. It was a lot of fun. See you in the next video. By the way, Manchuria.
See you.
Have a good time, my friend.
Have a good time and kill some prize soon. I really mean that.